Evenson. Welcome to my Sacred Laundry Room. Today I want to share with you a fun little connected story that I learned recently from Jack Canfield. And I was at a workshop in Seattle where I was able to get this book, and it's called The Golden Motorcycle Gang. So the story that he tells is, metaphorically speaking, he's actually my age. He was born in between, right, Dean and I think he's born in 1944. I was born in 43. And he talks about this imaginary, vision of being in a school of enlightenment up in the cosmos somewhere, and it's the people are cruising around in their golden motorcycles, and at some point Jack notices this blue-green planet down there, way down there, and they look down and they kind of zoom in, and then they realize it's they tell some stories about horrible incidences in Poland and Japan and London and bombings and all sorts of tragedies. So what happens is they decide to go down and help this planet because that requires being born, and it becomes the purpose of their birth. Well, when I heard that story, Jack mentioned the story. It's just kind of a dream he'd had, or a vision that he'd been carrying around for a while. I went, oh my gosh, I think he might appreciate this story that I wrote many, many years ago. And it's about the story of our birth. So I want to read to you my story, and then just, well, you'll see. It's kind of fun how it ties in. So this is remembering the purpose of our birth. What is the purpose of our birth? We each have been born to serve life in a way that fits our gifts. Some of us are becoming more aware of the specific nature of our purpose here, while others have not yet awakened to this awareness. There are, however, many in our generation who are quite specifically conscious of why they are here. A story about the purpose of our generation, the 60s generation, came to me very clearly a few years ago. I was born in 1943, and Dean, my husband, was born in 1944, as well as many other so-called flower children. It was the height of World War II, and somehow our souls were conceived to come to Earth and help heal the terrible state of human affairs. I'll share the story of our birth with you. There was a time not so many years ago when a good many heavenly souls, yet unborn souls, looked down to Earth with wonder and deep concern. For at the time a great darkness covered the planet, and all the nations were embroiled in a vast and terrible war. The suffering and horror touched every heart, and not the least affected were the unborn ones who grieved for humanity. These unborn angels sought a way to help the people of Earth, their future mothers and fathers, and they thus volunteered to go down to Earth and be born, right in the midst of this terrible war, for they had a message straight from heaven that could surely save an ailing Earth. It was quite a time to be born, for there was suffering and shortage everywhere. Whole races of people were singled out for torture, and cities of civilians were targets for attack. Not too long after we were born, the most destructive of all weapons was unleashed, and 2 cities of people perished. Monumental human sacrifice to finally bring this horrible war of wars to a bloody end. Things eventually settled down, and the hot war transformed into a sinister Cold War that continued to touch people's lives. We grew up in this tenuous climate and tried to make sense out of our lives. Needless to say, we had long forgotten our original agreement to come here to help, and we often felt quite helpless in the face of society's prejudices and hypocrisy. Our youth was sometimes scary, often uneventful, and always we carried the feeling of not fitting in. We were extremely sensitive to people's pain, and in our heart of hearts we yearned for peace. So when we grew up, we were disheartened to discover that our nation was engulfed in another devastating military conflict. When would we ever learn to solve our conflicts without weapons? Our still young human souls cried out in protest at the continued atrocity of man fighting man, with women and children suffering as a result. We took to the streets to demonstrate our passion, to prove our power, to overcome prejudice and provide justice for all people. At about that time, our core of love workers was discovering our true nature, and that meant changing our styles, shifting our consciousness, and elevating our spirits to be one with our original purpose. As we became more and more natural in our lifestyles and our appearance, we began to look around and notice our brothers and sisters, our new family, which was emerging from the forays into expanded consciousness. We became known as flower children, and we caught society's attention as more and more we began to understand who we are and why we are here. We carried a message from heaven. It was a message about loving the earth and truly loving one another. We took an inner journey and found the place inside where we all reside, where we are all connected, all the creatures, even the trees. We rejoiced in all life and especially tried to lift up the weak, give hope to the meek. And we were very much about healing our wounded hearts, our ravaged bodies, healing our Mother Earth. In our youthful exuberance, we sometimes pushed our issues to the extreme. We may even have offended and frightened our parents and the larger society as we stood for our ideals. Yet somehow we made our point and proved that a generation united for a holy purpose could stop a nation from fighting a war which had no purpose. And so, our actions seeming to have been effective to a point, we settled back in amongst ourselves and sought to heal the sickness in our souls, which we had carried down from generations of time. Some of our numbers sought the sweeter side of life and did indulge themselves in the plush and richness, while others trod the simple paths and still tried to see their place in the natural order of the universe. Their striving was for harmony and understanding of life's true systems, so that somehow humanity could walk the balance and create a heavenly life on earth. So here are some questions for you, dear friend, if any of these thoughts are resonating with you. Did you ever have values and standards so high and hopes for love to really triumph? Did you ever wonder why war, why hate, why hurt? Did you ever stand out under a starry sky, a starry night, and feel the presence of God? Did you ever close your eyes and really pray and allow your mind to be quiet and listen for the still, small voice of God? Did you ever listen to the Beatles' music, lyrics and all? Did you ever try to discover who you really are? Did you ever want to give of yourself to heal this planet but never quite know how? Did you ever go on a hike, for a walk in the woods, and wonder what it must be like to really live on the earth and not be dependent on oil, cars, houses, electricity, and modern toys? Did you ever watch a sunset and marvel at the beauty of creation? Did you ever meditate or sing God's praises and be truly thankful? Did you ever love a child, help someone, or experience healing at some level? If so, then you may be one of those heavenly healing volunteers. And perhaps now is the time to unfold into the purpose of your birth. Remember, you are not alone. Thank you. And I would love to hear from you if this resonates with you in any way, whether you were born in the 40s or the 50s or the 60s or wherever, or the 80s or the 90s or the 100s. We're all here for a purpose, and we're all here to serve and help in the best way we can. So hopefully we can go forth and love each other and be kind and make our lives worth living and make the lives of those around us worth everything. Thank you. And visit our website, soundings.com. Check out our blog and comment. I want to know your story. Namaste. Thank you.